Today's video has the best smart products I've found over the last month or two. All of today's products have good use cases and are pretty innovative, so buckle up as I give you the very best the smart home industry has to offer you. Let's give her. This is Govee's new Curtain Light 2 sitting behind me. This is their new upgraded version of last year's curtain release. These are beautiful when displayed correctly and when they fit your space. Now there are a few different sizes you can buy. Each light bead is independently controlled, letting you display almost anything depending on the number of beads you have. The larger sizes of this are going to look better, but there is an option to connect a couple of these together using a single power adapter, so you can display fairly large logos or images. Like most Govee products, it's indoor or outdoor, and it connects using an upgraded Bluetooth chip and through your home's Wi-Fi to Amazon, Google, and now Matter. It's also included in the Homey integration, so you actually have a lot of integration options today. Govee has turned a corner with what they're allowing you to display on their products, and you have new features on Curtain 2 that are driving me to be able to make this look however I want. Not only can I use the new AI chat system to tell Govee what I'd like to see, if I don't like what it's chosen to display, I can have it redo it. I can also use an image or a GIF upload feature to create animations. And there's a graffiti function within the DIY module that allows me to create up to 10 different layers. So not only have they improved how their light beads look and work, they've also given us more options for displaying whatever we'd like. The only concern that I have for products like this is that you'll have the features in the place that you want them. Amazon and Homey have access to all the different scenes and effects, but otherwise, you're gonna have to control those effects from the Govee app. Other Matter-ready apps can turn on and off, change brightness, and change the color that's being displayed. So that's the only thing that you might have concerns with. Otherwise, this has been an incredible addition, and I can't wait to get a second one to display massive logos for when the Oilers win, if they ever win. As we go through today's video, I'd love to hear from you about which products you thought were the very best. Tell me why you think that way too. This will help me make better decisions going forward for what to put in these videos and what not. The next thing to show you is SwitchBot's Meter Pro, but this is a brand new CO2 edition. It's a large display that shows the temperature, the humidity, and the CO2 levels in and around your sensor. It also displays some little charts that let you see how comfortable your room or space is. Now, this is a sensor first. You can literally put batteries into it or plug it into the wall using the USB-C cable, and it'll start sensing the levels in your home. But after that, it can use Bluetooth connectivity to connect into the app. Most of you are going to want a SwitchBot hub to connect this to, because you get all these additional automation options and you get to house data in the app. There's a lot to love here because a CO2 monitor is a rare thing. Just having one told me where I had some problem areas and some things I had to address. Now, as I said, it can operate in a battery or a powered mode, and the powered mode means you could take measurements every minute. That's a rare opportunity again. So not only can you have CO2, but you can have CO2 every minute, which really helps to track how an issue is happening. There's also a lot of customization options. The little charts are customizable, and while you won't be able to change the text or the colors, you can customize the thresholds that are being used, so you decide what's comfortable. You can customize the alarms and choose whether or not this beeps when you hit those thresholds. You can also display any other temperature or humidity sensor from SwitchBot. So because this doesn't have a backlight option and an option to tap the screen to turn that backlight on, you might want to put this nearer to you so you can see the levels. That might mean another sensor in your home is going to make more sense to display on this, and you can use any sensor, including their outdoor sensor or the sensors on the hub too, or the sensors from Meters and Meter Pro products that they've had for years. And as if that wasn't enough, you can choose to display outdoor temperature and humidity from a cloud weather service. right on here. All the automation options are available inside of SwitchBot's app, but that's maybe the only thing that you have to think about. How do you automate with this? Unfortunately, most of the methods for dealing with CO2 levels are related to mechanical ventilation, and you're gonna have to tie this in with your thermostat in most cases to help yourself. Otherwise, you gotta just learn to sleep with the bedroom doors open or a window open. And that's kind of what I've learned. Now, the Matter connectivity doesn't help us because the CO2 levels don't come across through Matter, which is a problem with Matter, not a problem with SwitchBot. So you have to think about how you're gonna get your thermostat to turn on the fans in your home, which isn't that hard to do, but you'll have to think about it. This is Aqara's U300 Smart Lever Lock. It's a lever version of their smart lock technology, which means that it's going to work better inside of homes or on existing lever locks that you have. It has a fingerprint sensor, a numeric keypad that only lights up when you touch it. You also get options for things like Apple Home Key, and you get some physical keys with it. And of course, you get all kinds of app control and automation options because this is an Aqara product. It's a Matter over Thread smart lock, so you will need a Thread border router, but you probably have one in your home if you're unaware. It does work best with an Aqara M3 hub though, and that's also where you'll get some of the best automation options. I've had it on my home for a couple of months, and I've been extremely impressed with the accuracy of the fingerprint reader, which Aqara did upgrade for this lock. I haven't really felt the need to use any other method, and this has been such a good lock to restrict access to our basement here in the studio. I don't want all of you down here, and yet it's easy for my little guy to unlock at any time. He has fun doing it, honestly, and because it's Matter over Thread, I have a lot of options for controlling and notifying the rest of my home when the door unlocks. These are high quality components, and this is probably the highest quality smart lock that I've had from Aqara. It's heavy and it feels nice just to open, and I've really come to appreciate the way it looks and feels in my home. I think some of you will want the silver edition instead of this black version, but this works with the rest of my home, so it's been great. The battery life is pretty crazy good too. I opened that door hundreds of times now, and I still have 3 out of 4 bars on the battery level. I've also appreciated the do not disturb mode, which makes it a completely quiet smart lock in the evenings, and I appreciate the failed attempt lockout because it means people who shouldn't be here probably won't be, and I'll know when they try. It's easy to see this being indoors or outdoors with good ratings, and again, it feels so sturdy and secure that I think a lot of you are gonna appreciate this going into your home. The only concern I've had with all of this has been Thread. Thread has been imperfect in terms of automations, and sometimes connectivity drops out. I have some troubleshooting to do around that, but I just think it's the location of my M3 hub being a little too close to many of the other routers and network devices that I have broadcasting a 2.4 gigahertz signal. I feel this way because of some basic troubleshooting that I've been doing. I don't think that should scare a lot of you away from this product because it has been great, but just think about where you're gonna locate your Thread border router before you get it. If you'd like to watch our full review and guide for this one, it's up there on the screen right now, and it's available in the description too. You'll see that for most of the products today, and you can see how to get the most out of this lock, how it installs, and the features you'll get. So check it out. One of my favorite upgrades in my home right now is my Wi-Fi 7 system. Now, this is one of the 3 mesh points that I've placed throughout my home. Obviously, I've unplugged it, and it can run Wi-Fi 7, which is the latest standard today for Wi-Fi. Now, this system has nearly 100 devices connect to it already, and it's not slowing down. And in fact, it's providing me the maximum speed that my internet service provider gives me. That is, of course, only on devices like my phone, which can use Wi-Fi 7, but for all of my other devices, it's very fast. Now, I haven't always had an amazing experience with TP-Link routers or mesh Wi-Fi systems. I think they've turned a corner, and I know a lot of people like these already, but it's even better than it was just a year ago. You know, I think they've solidified their software, they've solidified how these are working, and with the addition of Wi-Fi 7, everything in my home is running really well. They're able to broadcast all the way from the middle of my home to my detached garage. And they can broadcast a 2.4, a 5, and a 6 gigahertz network. And then they can broadcast an IoT network, so you can have your smart home gear specifically pushed onto a different Wi-Fi signal than the rest of your home. And then they can broadcast what's called an MLO Wi-Fi network. And that is one of the best features, if not the best feature of Wi-Fi 7. That network, the MLO one, and the fact that my phone can connect to that is why I'm getting those top speeds there. It's actually connecting to both 5 and 6 gigahertz at the same time. That's what MLO means with Wi-Fi 7. It's called multi-link operation, and it means for you, a lot of reliability increases and a lot of speed increases. All of this is on top of a really good app with a lot of what I would call mid-level network administrative settings. So if you're a hardcore network person, this is maybe not the system for you, but I feel like a lot of people are afraid of managing their own network and their own Wi-Fi system. And this is a very easy app to maintain. It does most of the work for you, but if you ever need some of those detailed settings, you can get them here in the app, or you're likely to be able to get them. Now, if you'd like to see more about this, I created a video that showed you how to upgrade your Wi-Fi this year, and we showcased what this system is capable of doing for you within that. This is Bluetti's AC70. A portable power station. This isn't a traditional smart home product, but it's helpful to smart homes because it can act like most battery backups, but with a lot more backup and a lot more options for powering things like this around your home without having to add things like power bars. Now, normally this thing charges off my home's power at about 450 watts, but you could charge it off of solar panels. They give you all the cables, and you can also charge it off of your car. And again, they give you all the cables. You can also increase the charge rate with some special modes that allow you to power things bigger than the 1,000 watt load that it can handle. You can actually go up to 2,000, and you can also charge a lot faster in kind of a max mode. They also sell something called Charger One, which gives you a permanent installation into your car that makes sure you never drain the batteries on your car, and you just use excess energy from your vehicle to charge this up. Now, I love the big bright display here, and the fact that the display shows me incoming power as well as the outgoing power. I love that just with these buttons on the front, I can choose whether or not AC and DC output power is on at all. I like that I can see whether it's charging or discharging from this little circle graph, and I can see how long the battery will last as soon as I plug something in. I also like that I get a little bit of connectivity in their app. Now, it's just Bluetooth connectivity, but that provides a nice way to monitor what's going on in my home during a power outage. Really love the fact that the power can turn off that's going into this, and nothing that's being powered to it will have any sort of power blip. So of course, being the smart home guy I attach this to all the network equipment and the smart home hubs that I have in my home, and I now have a battery backup on all of those. I know it's going to deliver clean power to each of them. There are maybe a couple things to look out for. This has a maximum output of 1,000 watts, and the battery is 768 watt hours. You might not be able to attach this to all the different things that you're now dreaming about keeping working during a power outage. You'll have to do a little bit of a calculation, but it does have a mode to allow a temporary output of up to 2,000 watts, so it can run things like heaters. Otherwise, this is an interesting addition to a smart home. This crazy looking thing is called Trample Tek Blue. Now, this mat can go anywhere in or outside of your home, and when anyone steps on it, it can send a signal either directly to a paired smart plug like this one here, or it can work with Home Assistant to start an automation there. It's a pressure-based mat, and its basis is Bluetooth connectivity. However, you can flash this Bluetooth version to become a Home Assistant ready product, and I was really impressed with how simple that process was. Now truly, I haven't done that because it just hasn't been high enough up on the priority list, but even the basics of how this works is really neat. I love how this worked from the moment I plugged things in. I also loved that I could calibrate the mat in terms of what it took for pressure to get it to trigger. This is such an easy device to use to surprise someone coming up to your home, and I actually love how high quality all of this is. There's no component that I'm worried about breaking down really fast, and actually, there's only 2 or 3 components here. There's a USB-C cable, and the smart plug, and the mat itself. You get a little USB plug-in as well. So as long as you don't leave this sitting in water, it's going to last for a long time. And I like the idea of being able to place this mat under another mat. Now I hope in the future we see some other options for powering this, maybe even an embedded battery on the bottom side of it, but that's me being really nitpicky about what is a single cable. That's because with that direct pairing option between these two, or the options with Home Assistant, you could be triggering on your entire display for Christmas. The only thing to look out for with this one is if you're not using Home Assistant or want to do more than turn on this smart plug. Those are the options I have right now, so just hold off if that's not enough for you. These guys have a good product, and I feel like they'll roll it out to more hubs and systems later on. This is a tiny soil sensor from ThirdReality. This sensor gets pushed into soil and provides temperature and humidity readings back. It's as simple as that, as it's powered by a single AA battery that comes pre-installed. Now it's a Zigbee sensor, so you will need a hub, but because it's a fairly simple and common sensor, temperature and humidity, it'll integrate with most Zigbee hubs available today. I've connected it with a few already, but I'm using it with Homey Pro. The ease of pairing, setup, install, and now the use of this to make sure that my houseplants are well cared for has been nothing short of, well, easy. I love that this has a -10 Celsius rating on it, so you could even use it outdoors in the summer to drive watering systems. It's not ugly. In fact, it's kind of neat looking, and I think most soil sensors that I've had to date have been ugly and huge, and this is a neat little package that drives conversation, not drives people away. Also, driving simple automations with this is easy, and I think most people will use this to automate both lighting and watering systems. ThirdReality is selling a simple automated watering solution that I'm going to have a look at for next month. So plant management could be a thing of the past very soon with simple solutions like this. Oh, and it's inexpensive. So I don't think there's anything really to look out for here. Maybe the only concern for you will be, does it work with my hub? And with Amazon, the answer is no, and that's because Amazon doesn't support humidity sensors with their hubs. Otherwise, ask me about your hub in the comments below, and I'll let you know what I found. These are 2 new LifX bulbs. This one is the candle, and this one is what I call tubular because I grew up with the Ninja Turtles. Now, both of these are Matter certified, Wi-Fi connected smart lights that provide not just a single color, but multiple colors at the same time. That's because they have what LifX calls zone control. Since they're Wi-Fi connected and Matter certified, there are a lot of options for controlling the lights, but obviously with special effects and that zone control feature, you're gonna end up in the LifX app. I have to say that I love the tubes format. It's a gorgeous light bulb, but you have to have a specific fixture for both of these lights. I imagine having 2 or 3 of these in a row would look pretty wild. I love the the effects that use the zone feature effectively, and I wish LifX would give us a few more of those options. They do give us an option to create our own zone control, but I want more because there are moments where both of these look unlike anything I've ever seen. They're both incredibly bright when you want them to be, and that on top of great color reproduction makes these fun and exciting to put in your home. They were great additions at Halloween and will be even better additions for Christmas. The only thing I've struggled with is Matter and connectivity. LifX seems to do really well with iOS, Apple HomeKit, and in the LifX app, and after that, Matter isn't perfect and I've had disconnections every so often. That's more on Matter than it is on LifX in my mind, but it does for some reason seem to work better with HomeKit and iOS, so maybe it is a bit on LifX. Either way, just plan to control these mostly by the LifX and HomeKit apps and you'll love these. These are the new Eufy Pathway Lights E10. They are bright, 350 lumen pathway lights that can display multiple colors and light up your walkways or other features. They are Wi-Fi and Bluetooth connected smart lights, and you can have a maximum of 4 of them on a single plug. You have some good distance between each pathway light. They are partly metal with a nice aluminum finish on them, and then a diffused plastic letting the RGBW LEDs out to play. They're gorgeous, and I have multiple videos of people coming up by my home and admiring them. They're a nice looking light and they took just minutes to install around my home. I'll be using these for years and I can easily relocate them anytime I want. They have a huge library of effects and even have an AI generator for effects that you want to have created for you. You can also use their app to create your own custom effects, and the basic path lighting options are incredibly bright if you want them to be. This is before we get to the best 2 features. The first of my favorite features is in scheduling these in the Eufy Life app. Now, Eufy's given you a calendar date option, so you can schedule these to display a Halloween effect during the 2 weeks leading up to then. Then you can create a second schedule for Christmas and another for the next holiday. From there, over the next 5 years, you won't have to touch your schedules. You're set. You can do exactly the same thing with the very best feature. And this one is only if you have Eufy cameras, and only ones from this list on screen. If you have those, then whenever those detect someone going by your home, you can trigger the pathway lights on, and you can trigger them on to any effect. And you can schedule those automations based on the calendar. So again, you set these up once for the year and then you're done. It's a simple solution to us not having to change automations for the time of the year. The only concern most of you will have is the other integration options, which are fairly weak. It's Amazon, Google, and the Eufy Life app. It's also a bit of a cable situation to deal with, so just watch that. If you'd like to learn more about these, we have a review and a guide with these pathway lights, as well as 4 other options Eufy has for smart lights. And that's in the links below and up there now. So check that out for permanent outdoor lights, string lights, and some more options. Now, I'm not a clothing model or anything like that, but I've been reading a lot about clothing being endocrine disruptors, these different fabrics and other problems that we're seeing with these synthetic fabrics that are going into our clothing. And these guys from Textale sent us some stuff. They're not paying me to say anything to you about them, but what I noticed was it's a bit of a different take on what should be in clothing. Now, this sweater that I'm wearing is 50% cotton, 50% what's called modal. As I've been told, that's something of a treat.
You know, I'm something of a scientist myself.
I don't understand fully, but what I do understand is when I see a standard. So they give you, this card and a couple of things. Basically, this is a standard that checks for harmful substances in your clothing. And I will say, very comfortable, very different. They're heavy products, this is a very heavy sweater, but I'm not super hot in here, and it's It's 19 degrees in here. Normally, it'd be sweating up a storm. So this is a bit of a different company, a bit of a different take. This is the new Ring Video Doorbell. You know what a Ring Video Doorbell does and how it works, but there are some pretty big updates to this design. Some you'll like, some you'll hate. Now, like other Ring doorbells, gives you good quality video, night vision, motion detection, even some package detection options, but you'll need a subscription for most of that to work. The recordings go out to the Ring Cloud, and that's part of the subscription, as you get good storage there and easy ways to access and review your recordings. It's Wi-Fi connected, and you can integrate with your Ring security system, Amazon's voice assistant, and their smart displays. And you can also easily use this with things like Ring's path lighting. One of the best things about the new doorbell is this slim design. It looks way better on homes, and this is nearing a regular doorbell size now. I'm amazed at how small this is. You're getting a similar battery life versus previous models despite that shrink in size, but there's no removable battery, which will mean you have to take it off the mount to charge it. I don't love that personally, but I do like that it's now a USB-C rechargeable device. The mount no longer has a lock screw, which kept Ring doorbells from being stolen fairly easily, but that does make it easy for you to remove and recharge it. The mounting hardware is nice, and it's an easier device to install overall. The transformer range is good, so if you do want to install this in your home permanently, you can do that. So I like that it can be a battery or a hardwired install that works with your existing chime. The best feature is a new app feature though. It's the video search option, which lets you put in simple things like show me when the pizza arrived. Then Ring will bring back those kinds of clips. That's gonna be available on many newer Ring video doorbells. So it's not limited to this new one, but that's a wildly good feature that'll make it easier for you to find videos that are relevant to the moment. It's a big step that doesn't seem like one until you need to find an older video. Of course, all of these changes in design mean some of you won't love the result. This one's easier to install and use, and that's the point. Ring still has the older designs for those of you that prefer the removable batteries and the custom faceplates. So one thing to note though when you're looking at upgrading, the mounts are not the same. You'll be making new holes in your wall. Now, all of the in-depth reviews for today's video are below in the description. So if you're looking for more on a specific product, we got you covered. Check those out. Otherwise, check out all the links below to these products if you're looking at picking one up. And of course, guys, as always, thanks for watching. Live smart.